Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about Luana Carolina versus Julija Stoliarenko, or Julia Stoliarenko. Carolina is 30 years old, 9-4 as a pro, and she's given up 1 inch of height to 30-year-old Stoliarenko, who is 11-7-2 as a pro. Stoliarenko is one of these fighters that is a unique threat. She's got 11 wins, 10 of them by submission, one by decision, and all 10 of those submissions are first round arm bars, which is fucking crazy. She should be nicknamed the Lithuanian Ronda, as opposed to Irina Alekseeva being the Russian Ronda, or whoever it is. But this girl would live up to that name. She is a very dangerous round one fighter and an armbar specialist, the last of which came over Molly McCann in her last fight. And Molly McCann is actually on this card as well. But Stoliarenko, after round one, she starts to run out of options a little bit. It's not to say she can't fight on the feet or even fight hard for 15 minutes. She's done so even for 25 minutes, but she loses most of those fights. Every fight aside from one that she's won has been a first round armbar. The other one was actually a 5-round decision against this girl, Lisa Verzosa. And it was a good battle, really good battle, largely battled on the feet. She had a good armbar attempt in round one, or an armbar attempt anyway, which might have sealed the round for her. But after that, it was all stand up, and she was throwing down hard. But even though she thrived in that fight down the stretch, that's not been the case at the UFC level. Generally speaking, I expect Stoliarenko to fade as the fight goes on. She's got 7 losses as a pro, 3 by TKO, 1 by submission, and 3 by decision. The one submission comes to Julia Avila, who got her out of there in the final minute of round 3 in their fight, the final minute of the fight. And that was with her rear naked choke or face crank or whatever. She was on top of her. She was TKO'd 3 times, twice early in her career, to Lucia Pudilova in a corner stoppage in round 2. Lucia is still a UFC fighter, I think. And to this girl, Aga something. I don't know who she is, but she retired with a 10-1 record, with the one loss being a decision to Jennifer Maia. So on that alone, I'd like to encourage her to get back in the sport. But also, I have to say, especially because that loss took place earlier in her career, seems like a forgivable loss on paper. But I should note that loss happened in round 3. She was TKO'd in round 3. I haven't seen the fight. I tried to, but potential cardio failure there. And her other TKO loss came to Chelsea Chandler in her most recent loss. Chelsea Chandler bullied her around, hurt her, and did a lot of damage within 5 minutes and got her out of there in the end of round 1. And her decisions are to Leah Letson, Yana Kunitskaya, and Alexis Davis. 3 decisions. Leah Letson might have been the ultimate finale, and then she lost twice after that by decision. But in general, I don't expect Julija Stoliarenko at the UFC level to be winning fights down the stretch. I don't expect her to be finishing people after round 1, and I don't expect her to be winning on points, because typically she fades, and especially in this matchup against Luana Carolina, I think if they find themselves in round 3, she's losing round 3, 10-9 to Luana Carolina. I feel like it's settled on paper, but you never know. Luana Carolina, she's 9-4, 2 TKO wins, 1 submission, all earlier in her career, because at the UFC level, she's only won by decision. She does have 6 decisions overall altogether, and 4 or 5 of them are inside the octagon. So she's had a lot of success fighting long fights here at the UFC level. And her 4 losses are 1 by knockout, 1 by submission, 2 by decision. The knockout is to Molly McCann, round 3, spitting back elbow. I've got to attribute that more to the actual special move itself. It's like a special move you'd see in a video game than I do to Luana's chin. I don't think I could attribute that to a bad chin, because she hasn't been hurt since or before. Her submission loss was a knee bar, actually, to Ariane Lipski, the queen of violence, where she left herself vulnerable. She was caught sitting on her ass, and Ariane Lipski had a leg sitting in front of her and devoured it. And that was a rough knee bar. Really looked like it could have fucked her up. So I'm glad she wasn't too fucked up. and she lost 2 decisions. Joanne Calderwood outpointed her last year, and I thought Joanne won the fight all 3 rounds, but it was still competitive. And Diani Firmino, very capable fighter outside the UFC, beat her way back. I think maybe her debut as a pro. So she's only lost to good fighters, only suffered a few finish losses, and in fights that have gone the distance at the UFC level, she's been the last woman standing in just about all of them. She won round 3 and the fight against Ivana Siric Petrovic in her last fight, taking out the girl who had a good bit of hype on her. She beat Lupi Godinez, who is still surging, and she did that by taming her and winning rounds 2 and 3, although it was a very close fight. And same goes for Poliana Botelho and Priscilla Cachoeira. Cachoeira, she actually almost knocked her out with a head kick in round 2, but overall, she was outworking them, and especially down the stretch. So these 2 girls find themselves in round 3. I'm very sure Luana Carolina is going to outwork Stoliarenko. So my pick is Luana Carolina. I do think she's going to survive round 1. I do think she's going to keep it on the feet. And she's, Julija Stoliarenko is a judoka. So hopefully she knows that. She's aware of that. And she keeps herself out of the clinch, keeps her hips away, and doesn't get too tight where she can be tossed. Because Julija Stoliarenko, if she tosses her, especially early, the submission is very much on the table. But I'm taking Luana Carolina to survive. I'm taking her to outwork Julija Stoliarenko down the stretch, and I bet on her. And the reason I feel especially comfortable betting on her is because I know you can hedge comfortably with Julija Stoliarenko round 1 submission. It's pretty much her only path to victory in any fight. So Carolina by decision is the pick. She is the bet, and I'll wait to see what props open up. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.